So how's it going, everybody? I'm Lee, and you're watching Tall Tesla Guy. So if it's your first time here, really think about subscribing. We throw videos in at least once a week, if not more. Talk about everything from lifestyle to tech, DIY, and certainly Tesla. We're going to be talking about Tesla today. Make sure to snap that like button also. If you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much for your support. I couldn't have done it without you. Really appreciate you guys tuning in, watching the videos, commenting, liking, all that sort of stuff, and I really appreciate it. Really appreciate you guys' support. So we are coming from my new recording area. This is a kind of impromptu setup, but I figured I'd give it a shot. Gives me a little more sound quality, stuff like that. So I'm going to be messing around with some of the things in here, but shameless plug for Starbucks. Who knows? Maybe they want to sponsor the Tall Tesla, and we'll talk about their products too. I don't know. But threw a couple of things on here that I thought were neat, and then we'll jump right into it. So what we're talking about today, as you saw in the title, is the Tesla Model 3 redesign. Elon and Tesla are talking about it as being a radical redesign, and quote unquote radical, just in a sense that for the first time they are really changing some things. Now a lot of the stuff they're changing is internal, and then a couple of cosmetic things on the outside. But it's exciting nonetheless, and it's the battery technology that's the really exciting part. Unfortunately, you'll never see that. However, when you're talking to your friends about your car, and the first thing they say is, yeah, it's nice, but how long between charges? You can tell them, hey, up to 500 miles or 400 or 500 miles or something like that. But the bigger thing was, hey, we bought our Model Y about a month ago. Should I have waited until 2021? I don't know. We'll talk about that too. I never would have, spoiler alert, but something to think about, something to consider. So, jumping right into it, they're planning on doing a couple of different things, and we'll break them down a little bit, but chrome delete on the handles on the outside, regen braking, which the Model Y already has now, but the Model 3 didn't up until 2020. I think they might have it now. And then also the heat pump, power lift gate, and then they're planning on doing a matte cover on the middle console. Everybody hated and I say everybody with kind of or an asterisk anyway, because my wife likes it and I don't mind it. The middle console was glossy black, and people wanted the matte black because it's a fingerprint magnet. It's a dust magnet. Now we put PPF on ours anyway to cover it up, and it helps with the fingerprints and it helps with the gloss or the dust. But nonetheless, people didn't like it. They were covering it anyway, so that's something that they finally decided to jump into. I'm surprised it took them this long to get there, but they did nonetheless. And then power lift gate's nice. We have it in our Model Y, and I don't know why they didn't in the Model 3, but that's going to be there. All we're waiting for now is that, where you can wave your foot underneath it and it'll make the lift gate open. They don't have it yet, which again, I don't know why. I had it in my Ford Explorer, but maybe we'll get that eventually too, which would be kind of nice. And then the biggest thing is the batteries. Gosh, with the new everything they launched during Battery Day, talked about during Battery Day, is stuff that they're pushing to have in production in 2021/22. It'll probably be 22/23. Elon has a tendency to get really excited about things and maybe push them before they're necessarily ready, but nonetheless, they're producing it, they're working on it in their Gigafactory in Berlin. They're really focusing on the Cybertruck and some other things down in Texas, but who knows, maybe they'll get it there and we'll get it sooner. They're really kind of pulling away from, without diving into the technology or the technical part of it too much, because it was, the Battery Day was just really high level stuff, or at least some of it I was like super excited about. Some of it I was kind of like, I'll wait and see what happens when we get it. So pulling away from cobalt to lithium, that sort of thing. We'll talk about that a little bit too, but that stuff is super exciting. It's going to give you 400 or 500 miles of range on your car. Right now we get 330, which is great. More than enough than we'll ever need. I mean, it's gosh, we spend maybe 60 miles a day, and that's to work and back at 30 miles a piece. Once we start going back to work, January, February, who knows? Right now we're working from home, but as you know. But when we get to that point, it's always great to have more. I would say everybody wants more. I do too. So the more range we can get, the better. 400 or 500 miles would be fantastic. And it just made me start thinking about it, like maybe I should have waited. Gosh, I'd love to have all that range, and I know that once it happens, my resale value is going to kind of go in the tube a little bit, but I think it's great, and it's great what we have and where we have it and stuff like that. So we're going to jump into all that stuff as we move forward and just kind of dive into it and break it down a little bit, and I'll talk about some of my concerns and just talk about some of the things that's going on. So with everything that they're talking about the new Model 3. Some of the things we expected, right? So the top five things that they're putting in it: chrome delete on everything. Some people love the chrome, a lot of people didn't. Now that's the handles, that's anything that's chrome on the car itself, they're taking away. Now a lot of people were putting matte finish on them anyway, so that's not a complete surprise. I'm just surprised it took them so long to do it, or at least to offer it. A power lift gate, right? So now in the back, you have to push the button to open it and actually lift the gate. Not crazy, but it is nice in the Model Y that it's got a power lift gate. It's also got the chrome delete. They're also putting a matte finish on the center console. So the super glossy look, my wife actually likes it. I don't mind it. We ended up covering it with PPF anyway, so that it doesn't scratch, and the fingerprints are better and the dust and stuff like that, but a lot of people didn't like it. So again, I'm surprised it took them so long to do this, or at least offer it, but that's another thing that they're doing in this new Model 3. And I think this is going to trickle down to every other Tesla car that they produce. So Model Y 2021, 2022, it's going to have that center console matte finish. It's already got the power lift gate, it's already got the chrome delete on the handles, but it's going to kind of match the Model 3 since they share about 80-85% of the same parts anyway. In addition to that, the heat pump. They put a heat pump in the Model Y. It's not in the Model 3, so the new edition, maybe 2020 and forward, is going to have a heat pump, which is fantastic. And then also the regen braking. Now, our friend's Model 3 doesn't have regen braking. They have a 2018. I know the 2020 and beyond is going to have it. So those are the 5 things that they're talking about as kind of a style redesign. Now, they're not doing anything to the exterior, it doesn't look like. At least we don't know yet. So it's going to look the same, but it's going to have some key features that are different. But the biggest thing, and the only thing that made me think like, heck of a wreck, I should have waited till 2022. Honestly, I never would have waited. We were so excited about it. I would have bought it if it only had 3 wheels. To be realistic with you, I was just super pumped about getting it. But it's the new battery technology. With the new battery technology that they have, they can put more, essentially, if you think about it, kind of breaking it down, they can put more charge per battery with the different battery design. Now, there's a bunch of scientific stuff behind it. Just they're not going to be using cobalt, which I had to think about for a second there. Not going to be using cobalt, going to be mostly lithium. The charge lasts longer. They can get, they're talking 400 miles as it'll probably be their long range, but then their standard range will be 300. Which is what we get on our long range right now. So, that alone is reshaping the industry. So, one of the biggest hurdles to getting an electric vehicle from an ICE vehicle is the range anxiety. I threw a video on a bit back about range anxiety. Now, this was actually before we took ownership of the car. We hadn't signed the paperwork yet. We bought it, we just hadn't received it yet, I should say. And it just kept me up at night, range anxiety. So, it's one of those things that's just not gonna be a hindrance, even at 330 miles. However, I'd be more excited about 400 miles. If you start throwing 400 and 500 mile range cars out there, that's huge. And the first thing they're going to do once they get it in the Model 3 is it's going to be in the Model Y. So you'll have a 400 or 500 mile range car for the Model Y, battery I should say, which is fantastic. So those are a couple of things that they're excited about. They're throwing this out, but like I said, honestly, I wouldn't, there's nothing that would get me to want to wait 2 more years for it. So I never would have waited. But Tesla does this a lot though in it. So that's the only thing I'm worried about. It would be kind of resale down the road sort of stuff. But outside of that, no, I wouldn't have changed it. But it's super exciting. It's super exciting stuff that's coming down the pipeline. And it's only a taste of what they're working on, what they're working towards, what I think will come out by the time we get to 2022. They'll have the Model S Plaid by then probably, the Cybertruck maybe if it's actually real. They'll have a newly redesigned Model Y, newly redesigned Model 3, and all this stuff is coming at their Giga plant in Berlin. And then whatever they do in Texas. The Giga plant down there too. So, it's really exciting stuff that's coming, and I'm optimistic and positive about it. I think it's going to be a good thing. In spite of everything that's happening with it and all the changes, the dramatic changes, I think it'll be a positive. I think it'll be a positive for the EV culture, for the EV revolution. I think it's going to be a huge thing. So I'm optimistic, looking forward, I guess. But chrome delete, matte finish inside, regen braking, heat pump, power lift gate, all that stuff's coming to the Model 3. So if you were thinking about buying a 2020 Model 3, maybe give it a couple of months, wait till 21 when all that stuff is in there. And then, really look forward to that 400 mile battery, which I imagine is 21 or 22, probably 23. You know, he's refocusing on some of that stuff too. So I hope you guys enjoyed watching. If you haven't already, think about subscribing, hit that like button. Hope you guys have a great day. Stay safe out there.